your boy needs to go on a rant. Okay. So you might want to skip ahead 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know how long this is going to be. So bear with me, but I had to talk about it. And I'm sure you may know about it if you're following online craziness. And essentially, Thy Art Is Murder, deathcore band, fired their singer, CJ McMahon, I think is his name. And, caused quite the brouhaha online, and a lot of it is just the reaction to it, and essentially people equating it to cancel culture. And most famously, what was it? Ronnie Radke basically said people should boycott the band and offered the singer $20,000. And I guess this is over some things he has said about trans people, and that like some mother or maybe possibly non-binary child should be burned to death, and caused a whole bunch of stuff. But there's just some things I want to kind of put my 2 cents in about this. I did a little Twitter thing about it. It was very kind of diplomatic, but I feel like I have a vested interest in this because it's very similar to what happened with Bad Wolves and our former singer. But keep in mind, we never fired him. We did not even have that power. So again, this is narratives that get out there that are not correct. But we were accused of the same thing, of canceling. And there's a few things I just want to put out there. I mean, first off, that piece of the puzzle. And what people do is it's like, like an iceberg. They see the tip of it and think they know everything about it. But I want to reiterate, I don't, you don't, no one knows what's going on behind the scenes of these bands. So maybe you saw that one post and go, well, he shouldn't be kicked out for that. I'm like, well, maybe he's a fucking asshole. I don't know the guy. Maybe he's a very nice guy. But sometimes, you know what? People in bands are assholes. They're drug addicts. They're alcoholics. They're inconsiderate. They physically abuse people. They verbally abuse people. They're unreliable. They don't show up on time. They don't do their job. There's 50 fucking reasons you could be kicked out of a band. And situations like that, what people don't realize is if you were a singer in a deathcore band, all right, I'm sorry, but your opinion, your negative opinion about trans people, or I'm sorry, they're not against trans people. They're just trying to save the children. All right. Where in the fuck in your job description is saver of children? Okay. You're in a deathcore band. Don't you sing about death and destruction and darkness and murder? But now you're also saving the children. Okay. I don't know. I must have missed those songs. But the truth is, once you enter a conversation like that, and very similar to what we dealt with, right? Now you are basically putting everyone you're in a band with in the path of that backlash, right? So when we were going through what we were going through with the Tommy and the markers and the anti-Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, I'm getting messages and emails from Black fans, from old friends, from family members. Every single dude in Bad Wolves, our parents were reaching out like, what the hell is going on? Right? So who gives someone else a right in a band to say things that affect everyone else in the band? And if you don't care about that, right? If you're the mouthpiece of the band and you're saying crazy shit, and listen, maybe you don't think it's crazy, that's fine. But saying things that are getting a lot of attention, negative attention, and then affects everyone else, to me, that says you don't care what your actions do, how it affects the people around you. And how is that being in a band? Right? Being in a band is being considerate of everyone else. You have to share space. You have to share money. You have to share resources. You have to share responsibilities. And people don't think about that, right? So that's one thing. And by the way, that's only if that one piece of the puzzle is what led to it. There could be 50 other things that you don't fucking know about, but you jump to conclusions because everyone knows everything. This is reactionary thinking. It's broken thinking. And what it is people, it's an overcorrection, right? So people are like, I hate cancel culture. So then what it does is, because so many, boy who cried wolves out there, people who are actually guilty of shit are going to get away with it now because people are just so anti against cancel culture. So like Russell Brand just got caught in trouble with some things. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But guess what? If it's true, there's a bunch of people who like Russell Brand now just for the sole fact that he was quote unquote trying to be canceled. And that's an overcorrection. I get it. To me, the cancel culture thing, wokeness, it's just PC shit. And guess what? Even people on the left don't really like it. All right. It's this thing where people think that being against it's like, I'm a rebel. You're not a rebel. Like on Rockfeed, they did a poll, like who's with Ronnie? It was 92% to 8. You're not a fucking rebel. You're just in another mob where everyone thinks the same thing and thinks you're against the mainstream. You're not. You are the mainstream in this scene. In the metal world, the rock world, like, no, that is basically, it is not too different from like a Joe Rogan audience. It's mostly male. It's mostly white. It's probably leans more conservative. So you're not against the grain. You're just part of your own little mob. And then when you go, hey, boycott them, now you're just canceling the band, right? I can't imagine what the guys in that band, what their inboxes look like right now, what the comments on their posts are. And it's probably shit like, you guys are pieces of shit. I hope you die. You're nothing without the singer, blah, 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 right? Because I went through that. And it's like, so you're saying if I'm in a band, or there's 5 people in a band, and we don't want to be in a band with X certain member, we're not allowed to make that decision? You get to make that decision for us. We have to be around someone we don't like because the anti-woke mob is going to come cancel us. Like, people are not thinking. They're just reacting. And there's so little empathy for the other people. These are people have to live. And you're like, oh, well, so let's destroy their career. Let's make it so they can't eat. And I'll say this right now. If you're telling people, hey, we're going to make it so you don't make money, so you can't eat, you can't pay your bills, to quote an anti-cancel culture warrior, Dave Chappelle, is, as I say, akin to killing him, killing a man when you take away his right to earn a living, or a woman for that matter. So there's hypocrisy built into it. It's groupthink. And you don't know all the details. It's none of your business. One dude I know is like, hey, the fans pay your bills. I'm like, okay, but guess what? I'm not a slave to you. And I get all the counters, right? If it was, 40 years ago, think about how many bands probably would have fired band members for doing fucked up stuff back in the day, whether it's Motley Crue with Vince Neil, whether, I can go think of a million things. Dude, all these bands, Led Zeppelin, and they were like banging like teenagers. And I don't mean 17, I mean younger than that. Had, teenage wives and girlfriends. No one cared. Or maybe some people cared, but it was just the norm. And I guess by today's standards, they would be quote unquote canceled. But these motherfuckers would do crazy shit all the time. Say terrible things. I remember, what was it, from Skid Row, the singer from Skid Row, Sebastian Bach. He had a shirt that said, AIDS kills fags dead. Right? And I remember there was an MTV News piece about it. And he was like, yeah, if someone had a shirt that said, cancer kills grandma's dead, I'd be pretty sad because, my grandma died of cancer. And he kind of got it in the moment, but he was just doing something stupid to be shocking. But dude, if he did that today, obviously, be pretty bad. Same thing Guns N' Roses, right? They had that song 1 in a Million. You know what I'm saying? Was it Immigrants and Faggots Come to Our Country? Crazy shit. That song, you can't even get that song, I think, on streaming now. I'm sure they regret it. I'm sure Sebastian Bach regrets it. And maybe under certain circumstances, so people will be quote unquote canceled. But we have to have an environment where bands can make decisions about what they want to do. And you go, no, we're going to make it so you're homeless. We're going to make it so you're starving or your children don't have clothes because we're mad because our favorite singer's not there. It's fucking baby. It's you know, there's something vicious about it, you know, where you think it's your band. It ain't your band, all right? Just because you bought the record and you got the t-shirt, it's not your band, you know? Or yeah, I mean, think about like, what if Van Halen, you know, fired David Lee Roth with like this level of, you know, people being able to speak their mind? Would they, let's cancel Van Halen, even if he didn't do anything wrong, just because they like that singer, you know? Just the lack of agency. So listen, you know, Ronnie's a nice guy to me. I've had nothing but good interactions with him, but I disagree with you, brother. I think you're on the wrong side on this. And, you know, CJ gonna be fine, right? If all these people love him, right? Dude, you go in the comments, this rock feed, it's like I said, 90% are on one side. So they'll buy the CJ solo album or his next band. He'll be huge, right? He'll get the, you know, it's like was it Joe Rogan, right? When he was canceled, he gained 2 million subscribers. Being canceled is like the best marketing plan you could get. Tommy raised $200,000 in the pocket. Free money. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no $200,000. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to cancel me. But, you know, it's not being canceled. Where can't he go? He can go to normal places. He can get another job. No one is above. It's like, oh, it's almost like you should say, if you're an asshole in a band and people are looking to get rid of you, you should go out and say some crazy stuff that offends some group. So then once you do get fired, you can go, oh, they just fired me because I was canceled. You know, it's a great, you know, get out of jail free card. But I'm just gonna say this: the guys in that band, I feel for you because I know what you're going through right now, and I hope you guys, your resolve is strong. You know, I think they'll probably have a better, you know, hand at things than we did, because at least, you know, they don't have one person with way more power going at them viciously for months and months and months and months and months on end. But other people are doing it on behalf of that, and people with a lot of power, and you got to be careful with that power. So again, if someone doesn't want to be band with someone, it's not your fucking business. All right. If you like them, you start a band with them. Why not? Go do it. You know, but no one, it's this entitlement, you know, that you know, we've all been fired at some point, I'm sure. We all have been. And, or been in a situation, we've been dumped. No one is entitled to be in a particular situation. So, you know, and again, I don't know CJ. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he can't speak his mind. But, you know, what you do affects the people around you. And do you care about that? Do you care how their lives are affected by your actions? And if you don't, then that says a lot more about you than I think everyone else, you know? So, and bands are tough things. It's not, you could have a problem child in the band and get rid of them. It doesn't solve all your problems, you know, because keeping a band together is not easy. It's not easy at all. So that's my rant. I hope you've enjoyed it.